Welcome back to the Bootblack Corner, where better footsteps in life are made. This is episode 2, season 2, and I'm sure you've seen that we've started the new way of things. We're on YouTube, so I have to say in the beginning that you please like, subscribe, and also just leave comments on what we're talking about and just engage with us as well. So today, I've got a good friend today that is going to speak about his business. And the main topic today is we're going to talk about business relationships, business relationships with teams, the mindset of business, and as well as the perception that family and friends have when you, as a young entrepreneur, have business. This interview is definitely overdue. I mean, I think it started as a conversation at a birthday party or a birthday braai, and I just thought like, man, like this guy's got a great mind, and I think we can learn a lot from him. So yeah, this is Sisa Mkhize. You can just give just the introduction of who you are and the business itself, and then we're just gonna get straight to the topic as well.
Yeah, so I want to just let people know that I didn't prepare this introduction. I'm a little nervous, which isn't normal. I'm not really
Yeah,
nervous. I'm not often nervous, but yeah, my name is Sisa Mkhize. I am an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, co-founder of Tawoh. We're going to talk about Tawoh. I'm also a student. I major in information science. I'm based in Pretoria. So yeah, I'm just an individual who loves to create a lot of things. At some point, you can say I'm a creative, but you could also say I'm a bit of a joker. Also, yeah, I just love having conversations that we're probably gonna have today. And thank you for having me,
yeah,
bro. I appreciate it. I mean, he's right. We're a few beers down the last time we saw each other. But it was definitely a good time, and I'm glad that we've been able to make it happen.
yeah.
So thank you for that.
So the topic, Tawoh, Tawoh is a business that offers services such as photo and video production as well as editing. So we're gonna speak more about it. Here it says that your guys' vision is streaming with a focus on niche African productions and content.
Mm.
Tell me why you have that as a niche. Why African production and content? What is it that you want to achieve from focusing? It's easy to just say, "No, I'm focusing African content, and you're just focusing here in South Africa." But now you bring it the whole continent into the picture. Why do you wish to achieve it?
Yeah, so it's a number of things, bro. I think it comes from being quite fascinated by uh, the way that we tell stories in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's deeply engraved in our ideologies and the way that we think. I mean, I was telling you earlier in our conversation that I read up on some philosophy, and when you read about African philosophy, when you read about African history, storytelling is such an important thing.
Definitely.
So we get told stories from a young age. You know that. I think all of us know that. So I was always quite bothered, myself and my business partner Henry. We're always quite bothered by the the inability to convey such deep and deeply enriched stories into film,
Mm-hmm.
into visuals, into very very good visuals, well curated visuals. And so I went deeper into that as to like, okay, what's the reason for that? Like, why don't we have that?
Mm-hmm.
What's holding us back?
Mm-hmm.
What are the issues? And so there are a number of reasons why we haven't been able to, and quite a big one is that there's no way of getting getting people to see the work that we do. The industry itself is not really that developed. It's not really authentic as well.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, because instead of going as far as to develop things that are very unique and very, very good, it's cash grabs, and so it's that and a number of other things. I mean, it's a very complex explanation, but really, we want our creators and our producers, in particular, to elevate the quality that we have in the content, and develop the industry itself in South Africa, in these different countries as well, and put it in some space, and most importantly, to own it.
Yeah.
So once we've got the content up to a next level, and to own it,
Yeah.
not to depend on other companies, global companies like Netflix and Amazon, etc., to actually move this this industry forward. So yeah, that's a simplified reason.
Yeah, yeah. I had a question while you were speaking. I don't know if you're gonna answer it though, but of course you will take anyone that comes in and that wants to create content, and wants you to offer them services. Is their intention of what they're going to do, their content itself, important to you, or is it in terms of as long as they are taking something out, as long as there's content that they want to produce, we're up for it? Or is the type of content, I'm sure you're not sectioned into one section, you will help different, and especially of what you guys are doing, it's not sectioned to one thing, it can move from photography to videography and etc. But my question is, do you seek the intention of the people that want you to offer them services, and is that important to your decision whether you're going to say, okay, fine, we're going to help you, or um, is it just like, as long as there's just content that you're going to get out, as long as we're just pushing content as Africans, I'm up for it?
Okay, so I'm not quite sure if you mean the long-term objective of the streaming and all of that, or if it's the services that we provide now. But I'll answer in different ways. Right now, we focus on events, podcasts, and local businesses. So what that means is that at this point, we don't take wedding gigs, for example. And that isn't to say that we completely ignore them. I mean, we have taken photography and video for weddings and all those different services, but we are focused. We aren't focused on a set number of things, because it just needs to make sense financially, obviously. Because I mean, unfortunately, there's not a lot of money, bro. Like for an individual that's starting out, because they need to trust you first. They need to see that you're doing some great work. So we're focused on a certain market. There's certain people. We're not taking pretty much everything. We used to. We did. I mean, we're doing everything. Now we have specific people that we're targeting. Okay, because it's aligned with the things that we want to see. But when it comes to like the content that we want to develop long term, the bigger, the longer form content, the good work, there's going to be a screening process. So it's not going to be like YouTube, where pretty much anyone can just create work. We want to work with people that want to. We want to showcase the highest quality possible, right? And then have that as a thing that's right in front of us. And be like, hey guys, look, here's something that's really, really niche. Here's something that's really, really unique. Let's invest more in similar creators and similar animators and similar stand-up comedians and similar whatever the content will be at that point. Podcasters. So to answer it simply is that we're not just doing it for everybody.
Yeah.
It's for everybody, or it's for a certain mass, a lot of
Mm,
people, but
mm.
the content, we don't want to just put pretty much anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Especially
Uh,
you putting your name on it.
and that also doesn't make it niche.
Mm,
So it's not niche
true.
if it's just everybody,
True.
you know. Unfortunately, it's not going to serve everybody in the same way that we've got a company now called Viva Nation. This recently popped up. Viva Nation TV uh, is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone just likes that. And then even the bigger ones at Netflix,
Mm,
Amazon Prime, Disney Plus.
mm,
Yes, they pretty much accommodate everybody because they're taking a piece of the big pie.
mm-hmm.
Um, but not everything that's there resonates with everybody. You know, so that's not going to change.
A company that definitely is bound to grow, and definitely is bound to scale. But right now, you have a team of four, um, and I think as you said in the beginning, you're the co-founder and director of
Yeah,
Tawoh.
yeah,
Obviously, when you decide you want to start something like this, um, with your business partner, you have a dream, you have a vision, and you want that vision to come to fruition, and you bring people to help with that vision. My question to you is that how do you make people believe in that vision? I mean, I've started this podcast and obviously it will grow as well, but I'm doing it alone. So this vision I have is as much as the business is. We'll get to that a bit later. To the point where you now have to personalize the business, and that's why they call it an entity. It's got its own breath, its heart, and stuff. It has to
yeah.
breathe by itself. But besides that, there's a vision that you have in the beginning, and if I do choose to grow it with other people, I don't want people to just come for the paycheck, for the end of the month pay. I want someone who will believe in this vision and who can give input and who can create their own dreams within this vision. Because as I said, the business doesn't become yours anymore. It has its own breath. So how did you make your team believe in it? How did you make them want to have a stake in these dreams?
Yeah, it's a good question. Uh, the, I mean, okay, so I'll say it this way that Henry and I,
Mm,
uh, Henry is the person I work with, co-founder. Henry and I we realized that we have a very similar vision. In fact, as we started working together, we united that vision. So it was very close, and then it just became one North Star. Um, and when you do something like that, it becomes a lot clearer when you're working together and you start building. It becomes a lot clearer what exactly you want to do, bro.
mhm,
So it's also for that clarity. It's like, okay, what do you actually want to do? Because when you think about the things that you want to achieve, I'm sure you've got like an idea of where you want to take this part,
mhm,
you know, where you want to take this, what do you want it to be. You can see it. You can almost
yes,
see it, but that needs to be very, very clear when you start bringing other people in.
mhm,
So when we brought in the team members, both of which are incredible, Shumi, Akila, shout out to them. Um, very qualified individuals, very talented individuals. Um, the first thing was like, what are they like as people,
mhm,
just personality wise? Do
mhm,
they have a work ethic? Do they have a good work ethic? Because obviously that's needed. And most importantly, uh, what space do they see themselves in
mhm,
the future? Right? Do they think long term as well? Um, that was always the first thing to look at.
yeah,
It's like, okay, work ethic. Do they think long term, and do they want to be in this kind of space? It's like, okay, they tick those boxes. They love creative spaces. They think long term, and they've got a very strong work ethic.
mm,
And then that was the base that I used when I spoke to them. I was like, okay, guys, look, here's the vision that we want to take. And this is the benefit that it's going to have on the lives of individuals. Because the storytelling and getting into film and media isn't just about making cool movies and whatever.
Yep.
And investing in podcasts isn't just about just having cool conversations. It accumulates and then it becomes something so big that people think a little bit differently. So certain podcasts have changed the way that I see things because of the conversations that they're having. And certain movies have changed my perspective on emotion, like how emotion resonates with people, and how those people then take action based on that story, how it touched their lives. You hear things like that a lot. And so, just getting back to the question, what we did was we just made them understand like what effect this actually has, and what effect we want it to have on a lot of people within the African continent. And so I told them that, and it resonated with them, and that was an important thing. So then that way you remove the cash grab ideas or the way of thinking, because they know that this thing matters, and it's big, and it only matters. It's only going to matter, or you're only going to see the fruits of it in like 5-10 years. You're not going to see it now. In fact, our audience, I sometimes feel sorry for our audience. I'm so grateful for them because they can't see what they're not seeing. If you look at our pages and stuff, like they're not fully seeing what we're doing behind the scenes and what we're building towards behind the scenes. The conversations that we're having, the people that we're bringing in, the kind of partnerships and all that we're building, that we're working on behind the scenes. They're not seeing that. They're seeing the event shoots, the product shoots, all of that stuff. But the team sees what the company is going to be in 5 years. And so that's an important thing, bro. All of those factors that I mentioned were definitely an important thing when we had these conversations and brought them in.
Do you think you were undermined by your family starting this business? You're young, you're growing this business, and you go into your parents, you're studying, you're doing the thing that they want you to do, but now it's like, but I'm starting this, and yes, maybe it's like you need an investment, but I'm not really talking about the financial support. I'm talking about just the perception. Like, I think a lot of businesses, especially, or the ideas that come from youth, get destroyed, or they don't start because you tell it to a mind that is kind of is different, that grew up different, that had different experiences in their own right. But when you say you're starting this, was it taken lightly to say, no, this is just the stages of life? You're going to
The
change.
phase.
It's just the phase. You just started it, then it's going to leave, or is it this guy's got something?
Yeah. Okay. So for a very long time, I didn't really speak to them about it. Even now, I don't really speak much about it to them, except in key points, like certain progressions in the business. It's like, okay, we just did this thing. We just did a shoot now for Bacardi. And it's like, just like, I'll just like drop those little things, but I won't give them all of the insights. But not in a bad way, bro. They undermine it. To answer your question, yes, they do undermine it. They take it like, you're just taking photos, and I'm okay with that, to be honest, because it's like, then you're not gonna ask me for money.
And you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't have the grit, and you wouldn't have the fight in you if it weren't for not caring.
Yeah.
If you did care, then it would be like, why are you doing this? If that can take you down.
Exactly. Then it means it wasn't strong enough.
True.
So they undermine it, but at first it affected me. There was even a time where I clashed with a family member about it at home in KZN. Just based on this thing of me always being always going to shoots and all of that. Meanwhile, I don't even have like I'm not making a lot of money or something like that. So at first I was annoyed by it, but over time I realized that no, I understand.
Yeah.
Like they come from a like the way of thinking is I'm looking out for my kid
Yeah.
and I really care for my child and I want the best for him or her. And the reality is that there is security if you've got a job, a full time job, um, and it helps a lot. And you know, I think that they care a lot about that, especially when you think about what they did to get to that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
You know, our parents like they did a lot, bro. So I understand it. Um, they do undermine it. It's okay. But I always remind myself that suddenly they won't
Yeah.
get to a point where it's going to be like, damn, where did this come from? Right? But there was a lot of muscle and energy and sweat that went into it. When it gets to that point, it's going to be like, sure,
Yeah.
wow, okay, this is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I do think about that because to some extent, we're doing this for them. Henry, same thing, has a very similar situation in his mind where he's like, he's we want to do these things for our families as well, alongside the people that we want to serve in the long
True.
term. We want to do this for the people that are going to benefit from this, and that's our family,
Yeah.
that's our nieces, that's our nephews, our children in the future. You know, so it doesn't bother me too much, to be quite honest with you, because it is still small.
Yeah.
Still quite small. We're still building, but eventually they'll see. They'll see. They'll see. I mean, right now it's like, the question. How I interpret your question is, it's more of a branding one. But I'll explain what I mean. So when we started out, there was obviously we were just trying to show people that we're good at what we do. It was just basic photos, but like the editing style was pretty cool. So I was working with somebody who's so good, who had worked with like some really big artists at like 18 years old. You know, like Henry's different, bro. He's not gonna be anyway. um, so at first we were just doing that just to get people to know us and to, I mean, book us and whatever. So it was a very cheap reason. I mean, the vision was always there, of course, but we were like, we're starting out, so it's gonna look messy, it's gonna look basic. Um, and then we actually moved to. I think when we moved to Johannesburg slash Pretoria, because we're in Gauteng right now. I actually think that it was at that point we decided that okay, what have we done right while we were still in KZN? What did we do right? Okay, while we were not in KZN and we came this side, what do we need to improve? What do we need to work on? And in that time of analysis, and this was even before we brought in the team, when we just got here, we're like, okay, the company is too lifeless, meaning that we're not telling people what we're building towards. We're not giving people a feeling of some sort um, that encourages them uh, to invest in us and be patient. Because the reality is that a lot of people, the people that follow us, the reason I appreciate them is because people who monitor us and watch us is that they know that they're only going to see the fruits of this in like 5 years, 10 years, you know. And so we need to be able to make them understand um, what it means to be an individual who supports Tawoh, what it means to be an individual that that cares about the things that we care about.
Mm.
So how we personified it was we looked at obviously the branding side of it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, visuals, change the logo. We had a terrible logo.
Ask me about it.
Oh, it was terrible,
Yeah.
bro. Bad. I think it was like white background and the word Tawoh and like a really bad font, and that was like the logo. So we changed that. We picked, I brought in a graphic designer, who was in the team at the time, and we designed it and we spoke about it. Like, okay, we looked at like color theory, we looked at all of that stuff, and like, okay, we even created something that I learned while I was studying in Cape Town. Like I don't know, I forgot the term now, but it's basically a person, make like a person that you're targeting.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah,
target
your target
audience.
market.
Yeah, your target markets. No, I get that, but there's an actual term where I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments will say it. Say it in the comments.
Yeah, just saying.
I don't remember the term. But a set of people that would be us. So we created 3 people, like that are a certain thing. So it's like a 28-year-old that likes this, is interested in this, and whatever. That's just their profession, whatever. And then a 32-year-old is like this, and then a 22-year-old who likes podcasts and
Yeah.
whatever. So we created those things, and then from there it makes it so much easier to know who you're talking to,
Yeah.
right? And then that's also where you realize that you don't need to please everyone, because and that was a scary thing for us, because we're thinking, oh, we're losing money now because we're not talking to the people that were just bringing us cash, which is like the the events, the like the specific kinds of, and so also like I'm talking about weddings and matric dance, because matric dance, they undermine it, but it brings a lot of money.
Yeah.
Graduations, those kind of things, because those are the things we're doing as we're starting out. So that's how we were able to bring some life to it, and we're still building it now. We're in the process of even going even more focused, like going even more specific
Yeah.
on who we're talking to and why we're doing what we're doing, and then bringing that back to life, bringing that to life, and making it make sense to people, make people feel something.
Yeah.
Not quite there, it's 100%, but we're always just building on that, and then eventually we'll get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
I guess it is important. As you said, it's branding in itself. But you first start with just when a business starts, it's like you're just doing it, you're starting it, and then only then you add on to the things. And a lot of people feel like they must have all the things first before they start the business, and it shows that just start, and then you will start having the niche, as you're saying, and you'll start having the branding, you'll start having the connections that you build. But I believe it in so much that just start and you will get there. You will get there.
And also, you also realize that once you've started, the way that you do the work, the things that you're doing, resonate to people that are completely different to what you
Yeah.
thought. Like, and also some things that you thought were going to be great ideas, which are terrible ideas, and people show you that
Yeah.
because they'll mize you, or they'll really,
Yeah.
or people just will be like, they still show you,
Yeah.
like, so it's like there's no use in like thinking about like, okay, I'm gonna start like this in this kind of situation. Like you're saying, bro, you gotta start, and once you've started, or even before you started, the only thing you really need to understand is that is this tied to some sort of obsession
Yeah.
that I have.
Ooh, that's
So
dope.
not being passionate. Being passionate is not enough, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're building something big, I mean,
Mm.
of course, people do it out of necessity, to provide for their children. I don't have children, so but some people build out of necessity. Other people build out of passion and all that. But I'm saying that if you wanted to do something really, really big, really different, bold, um, it's got to be an obsession, bro. Because if it's a passion, your passion can change in like 3 years
Yeah, that's change.
based on the situation. For example, the way that I described that, I said this to a close friend of mine. It was a thought that I had. I was like, you can be passionate right now about water,
Mm.
uh, glass,
Mm.
water, about you're passionate about glass, create a business around that. And you innovate and you build and you build and you build, you do that. But then a situation happens in your life where maybe a tragic situation happens to a family member, someone that's very, very close to you. Maybe someone harmed them or assaulted them or something really, really bad like that. That can easily become your new passion now because you can see the effects that it's had on the person. And you're like, you know what? I'm dedicated to making sure that nobody experiences what my family
Yeah.
member experienced
Sure.
or my loved one experienced. So that passion can be a little bit malleable. So it's not enough. It's got to be an obsession of some sort, bro. It's got to be like a thing that's so deep seated that you can do this thing for 10 years
Yeah.
or 20 years
Yeah.
with the struggles, because the struggles are going to come anyway.
Yeah.
With the mistakes, you're still there because it's like you can't see yourself detached from this thing, you know. So that's just another thing I wanted to add to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this in conclusion. I'm gonna ask this to everyone I bring here. This was sort of like an interview, but he's gonna come back and we're gonna have the unpacking of just conversations. I think I just wanted to do this because, number one, I Bootblack Corner is very should I say is it's very in tune with the youth and young business and young entrepreneurs. So that does come first before we unpack just self-development and the social constructs of this world. It's important to first put it out there that it doesn't matter wherever we are, there are people out there that are starting things, and someone that can come and see this video probably wants their podcast to be shown, probably wants some sort of content that they're starting. There are people from avda who just finished, that just graduated and want to be in this space. And it's not just about sending your cvs to SABC or sending your CVs to an Mnet, but this is showing that you can start something. You can link with Tawoh and create content. You know, there are actors, there are editors, there are so many people out there that feel that they just have to be mainstream to make it. And I'm doing this because I believe that you don't. You need to start something. Let's grow something. So in conclusion, I want you to tell me, what is the message to your future self? Now, listen, it's not the corny future self. I'm not talking about what's the message to your future self. Nah, be good, be great. What I'm saying is this, and I'm going to say it to everyone that speaks. In the 1980s, 18th centuries, 17th century, we have minimal information of how people lived. We have some documents, we have some letters, some educational letters, we have some scientific letters and thoughts and whatever, but we don't have much of how people lived back then.
Yeah.
We live in a stage now where we can actually, 100 years later, someone can see a video of this and realize how the people lived here and take a message from it. And when I mean the future self, I'm not meaning Sisa 20 years from now. I mean the Sisa 100 years from now, the next Sisa. Maybe not doing the same thing that you're doing, maybe not in the same place, same country, same continent, but what is something that you think the future needs to hear? What is your message to the future self? It could be about this topic as well. To say, look, just keep striving forward. You're probably in Mars right now, the way we're moving, but
It's possible.
it's possible. But that's my question to you. What is that message? Because we're gonna keep all these things, and they can't stop us from creating that history.
Yeah, that's not an easy question. Not at all, actually. But if I have to give an answer off the top of my head,
Yeah.
um, I would say something like, you may think that the situations that you find yourself in um, have never been done before, or have never been felt before, or have never been experienced before. But that's not true. It isn't true at all. And there's something in that, bro. And what that means is step out of your continuous thought process
Mm.
and move into as much action as possible
Mm.
and experience things.
Mm.
And that's a universal lesson that don't get into the habit of internalizing your thoughts and repeating these thoughts that don't really matter, that inhibit you from experiencing things
Yeah.
and going out there and taking risks and going out there to go do things. I mean, I know for a fact that there are people even now, right, that look at what we're doing and be like, what are they doing? You know, what are they doing? But to be quite honest with you, bro, I'm living
Yeah.
and I'm doing what I see as me taking action for a bigger objective, for a
Yeah.
bigger goal.
Yeah.
So I guess the lesson would be, or the thing that I would say to this future self is that the experiences that you have uh, are not as unique as you think they are.
Okay.
And when you think about that, let that propel you um, to take your life seriously in the sense that you want to experience things, you want to go out there, you don't want to limit yourself because you think that um, nobody is like me or I'm doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if the logical uh, the way that I explained that is sort of is aligned logically, but that's the kind of lesson that
Yeah. No, it
uh,
definitely
I,
makes sense.
I would give to that person or those people.
Right. As please let me know what you think about my interviewing skills. This was first time doing it. So
And my answering skills,
yeah.
please, because I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard because it feels like the social light is specific to social, like it's just social beings, people that the presenters and the actors. It's
Yeah,
for them, but actually we all need to be in the space. And if you don't see that you have to be in the space, you're behind. Social media details. So Tawoh has their own website, tawoh.co.za. It's TAWOH.co.za.
that's right.
Email is info at
Tawoh.
tawoh@gmail.com.
No, dot co.
Dot co. Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Info at tawoh.co.za.
That's it.
And then at Tawoh on Instagram and LinkedIn as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your socials.
Yeah. So my socials are at Sisa Mkhize.
Sisa Mkhize.
Sisa Mkhize. SISAMKHIZE. You'll find me on pretty much I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But just follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram.
LinkedIn and Instagram. Yeah, and I just wanted to tell people out there, because I'm sure if you're watching this video on YouTube, you're probably in the YouTube space as well. You're in the content creation space. Take this thing seriously. And there are systems in place, there are businesses here that can ensure that you do take it seriously as well. Because as I said, you're creating history. You can also make a bit of money from it, but in general, you're creating history. And especially if you're from this African continent, it's very important that we take this seriously, because sometimes we've got so much misinformation about us and what we have. Denzel Washington has this other saying that he says, if you listen to the if you listen to the news, you no, what is he saying? The saying is, when you don't watch the news, you're not informed.
Mm.
But when you listen to the news, you're misinformed.
Mm.
So I think it's important that we create content that really resonates with us and which is not
Yeah.
clickbaiting everything. So we're learning from it and we're not just there,
Mm.
you know. So
No,
yeah.
100%.
This concludes the second episode of the Bootblack Corner, season 2. Man, I'm gonna bring Sisa back for sure. Like, I don't know, it could be soon, but I'm gonna bring him back. Hopefully, we can have conversations now because now we've already given the introduction to his business. Now we're just gonna be deep inside. But anyway, until then, I hope this week, this month, this year brings out the best in you. And until then, peace.
Take care.
Yeah.